What's up YouTube? Today I'm sharing my ChatGPT powered voice assistant that you may have seen on my channel. Here's a quick demonstration of it. Hey, what's up Emmy? How are you doing today?
Who are you calling Emmy? That's not my name. And why are you asking me how I'm doing? It's not like you actually care.
I'm sorry, I just wanted to have a small conversation.
Oh, well, okay. I'm fine, I guess. Just a bit busy with school and stuff. What about you?
So that's just a small bit of what it's capable of, and I'm working to improve upon it every single day. And today's video, what I'm going to be doing is just talking a little bit about it and what I want to do with it in the future and what the project looks like. It's not going to be an explanation of how to fully use it or a full explanation of the code, but I will go over my code in a little bit. So if you're looking for that video, this video is not for you. That's going to be the next one where I go into detail with how I did this. So today is just going to be me talking a little bit of where I want to take this little project and what I want to do with it. So what you just saw was the chat function of my voice assistant. And basically what it does is it takes a prompt that you provide it with that kind of primes the personality of the AI assistant, and then you can basically talk to it. And so once you prime it, it's really easy to change. You just change a text file. You can put literally any personality you want in there. Once you do that, you can run the script and then you can talk to it. And the way that I enter the code is I say hey in order to start the conversation. So it's pretty simple in its implementation. The code isn't too crazy. It's definitely pretty readable if you know some Python, in my opinion. So that is how my chat function works. And then the other one that I have, the other method that I use is called interview. And so this is basically a deviation of the chat method that you can use to practice interviewing. So I have a little short example of that on my YouTube channel of me going through using the interview mode of my voice assistant, and it's pretty cool because you can set it up, you can prime it with a conversation. The prompt, of course, you're going to need to make it pretty detailed in order to make the interview a good interview or a very targeted interview for what you want to do. By using that interview bot, it kind of makes me want to hone in on some of the things that I wasn't really able to answer too well. So that is a very powerful tool in my opinion, because not only are you able to practice the interview by speaking, but you can also, after you're done with the interview, you can ask the ChatGPT bot to tell you what your weak points are. It'll tell you what your weak points are and what you could have improved upon, and then you can still ask it. You can ask it, can you elaborate on some of those points? Like, hey, can you elaborate a little bit on Ohm's law, or can you elaborate a little bit on transfer functions, or stuff like that. You can ask it. You can ask it to elaborate for you on certain topics, and it will do that. Of course, I wouldn't take it for verbatim. I would definitely do some little Google searching if you're actually trying to develop your skills, but to be able to gauge you and help you out with stuff like that, I think that's pretty crazy and pretty powerful. So two modes. I have a chat mode and then I have an interview mode, and I'm going to be fleshing it out a little bit more and thinking of different ways to make other useful voice assistants. The path I want to take this project though is not just limited to talking. So I want to actually I want to integrate it a little bit more to be more human-like. So one thing that AI doesn't seem to be able to do is it can't replicate a conversation between, say, me and you. In conversation, people are talking in real time. The way that conversation flows is a little bit different. Like I said, you can interrupt people when you're speaking. You can interject, and it's not like you should do that all the time when you're talking to people, but interjecting and interrupting a person who is speaking, or us, the users who are speaking, AI can't do that because it's waiting for us to stop speaking in order to process whatever and then to send us the response. So there has to be, or there has got to be a way to kind of have an interrupt in the system that's able to listen to you in real time. I don't think the library that I'm using has that type of functionality, but I'm just I've just barely gotten my foot in the water for this type of field, so I definitely want to do a little bit more research on that. But I think that would be a very interesting topic, or very interesting thing to try to implement into these bots, is to be able to mimic natural speech, or to mimic how we conversate between each other. And yeah, that's just one point that I wanted to think about. And then the other one that I am looking into as well is how can you feed, or how can you give ChatGPT or how can you give ChatGPT senses? How can you allow ChatGPT to sense the outside world and to perceive the outside world? Well, we got cameras, sensors and stuff like that, but the easiest one I think is image cameras. Currently, the way that it seems that it's done is that it needs to just take a lot of images that it's previously seen before, and match those based on previous experiences that it's seen, and maybe it can classify all of those images and put them into certain numbers. But I don't know the exact specifics on how image recognition works at this moment. But from what I can tell is the way that currently image recognition is done, it's not natural language, which is what ChatGPT needs. It's numbers, it's different probabilities, based on the data it was fed. And so in order to get that into something like ChatGPT, in order for ChatGPT to respond back to you, you're going to need some type of image to text program, or I guess you can't call it diffusion anymore, unfusion. You need something like that in order to tell ChatGPT what is the image, and it has to be fast. The key issue I think with something like that is speed. The speed of it isn't at the level to where we would need it to be real time, I think, yet. And to incorporate this type of image to text, to be able to feed into ChatGPT to comprehend what it's seeing, and for it to be able to now respond with that, to take that into consideration when responding, I think that is a probable future. I think that is something that is possible, to be able to incorporate senses, to be able to incorporate some type of sense into ChatGPT. I guess the way that I'm thinking about it is if you reference humans, ChatGPT is the brain. ChatGPT does all of the computation and all of the thinking, and then now you just have to figure out ways to give it the senses that we have, give it sight, give it smell, give it hearing, all of those things. Right now it does have hearing to a limited extent. I think it depends on what you're using, but I gotta look into it a little bit more, because I would love to see some real-time text to speech deciphering in order to feed that into ChatGPT. But ChatGPT can already kind of have a hearing sense, because it just takes my microphone input, puts that into text, and then gives it to ChatGPT and it responds. So it already kind of has that, but it doesn't have vision yet. It can't decipher the outside world. So that's one thing. And so I guess I don't want to babble on too much. I just have a lot of loose thoughts in my head that I think are pretty cool. And yeah, it's just coming out in this conversation. But my goals with this AI assistant is to make it more human-like, to be able to perceive the outside world. And so I think the chatbot that I have here is just a step in the door, a step in the right way for me figuring some things out and putting some puzzles together and building upon it. I think it's only going to get better over the year, and we'll see how that goes. Okay, so here's my GitHub page, and I have this one up here as personal assistant. Everything's going to be down below in the description if you want to try it out. But here we have it. So a little bit of a quick description on what this repository is, and how you can get some of the libraries you need installed. And then here's a quick little demonstration of a Python script that works. This you can actually just download, but I kind of talk a little bit about how you can use it in the description down here. But yeah, like I said, this isn't a detailed overview of the code, but and more just kind of like an overview of it. So in here we have some prompts that you can play around with. If we go into the interview one, you can see the prompt that I have in here. It's pretty lengthy. It has some do nots. You will do the following, you will end the interview if, and then the job description. So this is where you put all of your prompts into it and you use that. You got some exes. You can literally just download the entire zip and then just run the exes. You just have to set your keys in here. So you need your 11 Labs API key if you're going to use it, and then your GPT key, your OpenAI key if you're going to use it. To use the 11 Labs though, you do have to run it as a Python script because I have it set as your system as the default voice assistant. So taking a look at the heart of the code, it's this class called ChatGPT. It's the GPT underscore assistant.python file. This one is pretty, so you got your initialization right here. It initializes all the variables you need. And then the core parts of the function, the core methods in this class are going to be your chat method and then your interview method. So those are the two ones that you can kind of choose between. The chat one, I have a description of how it works and the arguments that it takes in, and you can take a look at it here. And then the interview, same thing. The difference with the interview is that instead of waiting for the user to ask a question, it actually starts by asking the question first, kind of like how an interview would be. The interviewer is going to bring you in and talk to you. So that's what I have for the interviewer one. And then just some additional methods down here just to make things a little bit cleaner for me while coding this. So yeah, there's another important one. This one is the response completion. So this is the one that sends the message over to the ChatGPT API and communicates with the model. So you can set the temperature, basically how wild it is, how random the response is. I have it at 0.8. And then this messages is right here is just a list of dictionaries containing all of the messages that you've sent, and then this model right here is the latest ChatGPT model. So yeah, this is the code. You can go through it if you want to take a look at it. Nothing too crazy. Yeah, I just wanted to kind of showcase, or just kind of wanted to get the GitHub out here just to kind of share it. The next video I do will be a little bit more of a detailed coverage of how it is, how it works, and how to get it installed and everything like that. But for today, I just kind of wanted to talk about what the project is and what I'm working on and what I want to do with it. So yeah, that's what I have here, and we'll be working on it in the future. So let me know what your thoughts are down below in the comments. If you've got some recommendations, I'm always up for recommendations. And yeah, look forward to riding the wave of AI this year, and look forward to more videos.